Hello everyone, I'm Brad Johnson, and welcome to the Awakening series. This is a multi-part series that is going to represent many who are just starting to follow their path of the awakening process. This is good for people who are just starting to go into this path, or people who would like to have a refresher course to remind themselves about how far they've come. So what we're going to be talking about here in part one is the new reality. What does it take for one person to awaken? What happens within their life? They simply realize that they have taken more of a step of faith in understanding the realization that everything that we see outside of ourselves is no longer good enough. It is no longer satisfactory to feel that we are able to accomplish what we are seeking out to become. The external reality holds no vastness relating to what is represented to us personally. So it is us becoming very personal with the reality that we operate within. When we go into those particular points of states, where we are looking more into a faith within ourselves, not constituted through a religion or any other particular type of career or anything else that may be externally philosophical, but we're looking more into our own inner being to find out what is going on. What is happening to me? What am I changing into? Why am I starting to notice that everything within my reality is speaking to me in a way that I can't understand? Why are my beliefs being challenged? I really don't know what to believe anymore. I'm seeing that reality is revealing quote-unquote secrets to me that I never thought I would experience. What's happening to me? How can I bring stabilization back into my life? And that's what we're going to look into next. We're going to take a look at beliefs. And to many, why do we consider beliefs to be so important? Because beliefs are convenience. They're what make our reality make sense. And so they are common ground for convenience. And that's why beliefs are so highly admired for ourselves. Because as long as I have a belief, as long as I have a code, then reality is fine with me. I have things that are organized. I box things in together with reality. Reality now becomes a nice, beautiful, interwoven grid of organization. Now, I feel very comfortable. I feel great. Everything is just nicely arranged and nicely put together. But unfortunately, reality won't follow that, because reality is not meant to be contained. It will always speak to you, even in the most minute forms. It will speak to you because it is attempting to show you more about what you are capable of inside. The beliefs are always the feeling that we are putting, again, little boxes, little grids inside areas to where we feel that as long as I stay here, then everything's in control. Reality attempts to break control because you are the reality. Everything that reality is coming from within you. Everything that we see here, to what you see on your monitor here, from this whiteboard to this wall, the floor I'm standing on, myself, we're all just reflections. We're reflecting together in the perspective of us feeling that we are attempting to make sense out of a reality that is just holographic. And that's what reality is. Reality is simply a hologram. And it's not meant to be something that's going to be fixated to where every single day that you wake up, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Even though the routine may repeat, the essence about how you experience the routine is always going to be different. So, you're awakening to a new reality. Let's explore this further. as we talked about beliefs, that what is it that has fragmented my belief? Maybe this comes to the idea of your work, of your career. Work just is not satisfying to me anymore. I feel that I'm able to do something a lot more. Now, maybe I do not have to discard the entire aspect about what my work is trying to tell me, but it's giving me a whole new direction to look at something else. It's giving me the idea that I need to become more pure in my work. I'm looking to become less traditional. Okay? So that's one particular idea where the belief in regards to saying I just need to stay put where I am, or maybe I'm not making enough money, or this is not the industry for me. Maybe there's something else that's coming together that's bringing me more upon a pure path that is more representative to myself. This could also stem through the idea of relationship, be it family, be it friends, be it a partner. Again, it follows down to purity, to the pureness of yourself. I just feel like I have been trying to meet everybody's expectations of what I'm capable of doing. And as long as I keep them happy, then it's not too much about me. It's not me worrying too much about what I think. I just have to keep people happy. I need to keep my mom, my dad happy. I need to keep my friends happy. I got to keep my family happy. I need to keep my partner happy. And that's fine. But how do I feel inside? Oh, I feel miserable. I feel horrible because I don't feel I'm able to express myself. I have to put on a mask in order for me to even interact with people. So again, the belief starts to become shattered. And the relationship is now turning more into a pure path. Because realization is the whole idea about how reality changes. When you are noticing a new reality, you are going through realization. Realization is the visitor. It is telling you that you have learned everything that you have meant to learn by going into these old belief systems. It is now time for those belief systems to expire, and it is now time for you to awaken to a whole new reality. Belief systems have an expiration date. There will just be that moment where you may be working at your work and all of a sudden, bam, I don't want to do this anymore. I have no more interest in this job. I've had enough. I'm tired of it. I'm not looking to work for this boss anymore. I'm not making enough money. I don't think I belong in this industry. I'm not going to be continuing to follow the expectations of my parents anymore. I've had enough. I'm done. I'm tired of feeling that I can't talk to my friends, my family, about what I'm experiencing because they'll look at me like I have 3 heads. I'm done. I'm tired of it. I'm finished. That's the realization point. Your belief systems have reached their expiration date. And when that moment happens, that's the time of their expiration. Now what happens is that you're moving into a whole new reality of purity, and you don't know what to think about it. You don't know what to believe because there's no more belief. You have entered a pure state of confusion. So you've come to the point where you were in belief, and now you're coming to the point where you're confused. And as this may seem very strange at first to hear, congratulations on being confused. Because now this is helping you to open up to a whole new reality, representing other avenues that are more pure to yourself. So, if an old form of work no longer suits you, you're now gravitating to a more pure state of work, of career, that represents who you truly are. Something that you know you absolutely enjoy. Something where you can just hop out of bed in the morning and you can't wait to get started. No longer about the 9 to 5 or working in a cubicle that you know you may not be able to stand, or working minimum wage, whatever it is. All of these are interchangeable. Reality is interchangeable. This is the fluctuation of reality. It will always go into that infinite loop. What we try to make reality in is a box. That's what we think reality is. But this is what reality really is. And that's what's happening. We go through cycles within our life, moving us into a whole new reality altogether. And the funny thing is, even though I'm saying that this is a new reality, it really isn't. It's that you're only understanding the purity of what reality is. So when you have that realization that takes you into a state of confusion, you're now reorchestrating yourself to flow with reality. It's no longer about the idea of feeling that if I left this old job because I hated it, and now I'm going to go on this other job because maybe it's a little bit better, maybe it pays a little bit better, but I don't know, it's still not really in full resonance to what I want to do. Then you're still in a trap. You may have just gone inside a larger box instead of actually moving beyond the box itself. You're still not here. The whole key here is that when you're moving into the new reality consciousness, you're following this. You're following the heart. You're following love. What is it that I love to do? What is it that I can do to transcend the old paradigm of reality? And you're moving from that old reality paradigm and into something completely new. Now let's look a bit into this a little bit more. It's all about following the heart. So if we're starting to follow the heart, we are just spending time with ourselves developing three key fundamentals. The ability to be open. The ability to trust. The ability to interpret. That's it. This is how you become naturally intuitive. This is how you become a natural psychic. The heart allows you to be open, trusting, and interpretive. Well, how is it that we become open? We understand that reality is not a box. We understand it is that paradoxical cycle of the circle that continues to replenish itself every single moment that we exist. And so if we can tap in to that reservoir as a funnel, this energy will continue to flow naturally through our being, through our own body, through our own consciousness. That is how you remain open. You keep yourself in that refreshing cycle of the circle, like reality does. You trust. This is the biggest thing. I really don't know if this is my true guidance or if it's the guidance of the ego. I feel that maybe the ego is just trying to steer me wrong. What do we do to remedy that situation if we're looking at the ego? Well, why do we think the ego is going to sabotage us? That's the big question that you need to ask. Why do I think the ego is going to sabotage me? Because here's the thing. Your ego does not have a consciousness to represent a state of deception. What your ego has done is that it has bridged together these dominant thoughts that pertain to old belief. That's all the ego is doing. The ego is not the enemy. The ego is attempting to show you that you have put so many of these major thoughts into its program, into its database. And it's only attempting to share with you, you put all this here. You put the idea of saying, no, I got to work really, really hard. It's all about a 9-to-5 job. I have to fulfill other people's expectations. I can't think for myself. I'm not worthy enough to do this, etc., etc., etc. You put that there. The ego didn't. The ego is only serving as a memory tool. It's basically saying, okay, well, Joe or Jenny here has put so much energy into this thought, and now that is becoming the magnetized principle of how they want to live life. It's like a phone that has predictive text, so to speak, because now it's remembering exactly what you're able to type more and more, and so it serves you as a convenience to helping you function within reality. That's all the ego is doing. So, if the ego attempts to sabotage you, It's not that the ego is doing it. It's that the programs contained within the ego, the thought forms that you have created, represent old paradigm belief that has not yet been remedied. So what do? You talk to the ego. You communicate with it. You sit down with negotiation. You do this in meditation. You can do this in your own imagination. You can do this through prayer. You can do this through a journal or a diary. And you're talking to your ego just as if it was another person. And you're saying that, ego, we need to look at all the thoughts that have been contained within you for so long, because I want to tell you right now, they're no longer valid. They no longer have a service into how I'm moving into a new reality. So now you have to sit down with the ego, and you need to work on negotiation. What am I now willing to let go? Am I able now to transcend myself to realizing that I am worthy to doing anything I want to do on this planet? Am I worthy enough to feel that I can communicate with my family without the feeling that I shouldn't offend them, or that I can't speak my own truth, and that I'm going through this huge, gigantic fluctuation where I can talk to them like human beings? Even though they may be very judgmental about where I'm going, it's all about me being able to share myself. And here's the biggest thing of all. You are not in this reality to gain anybody's approval. You're not here to have approval from anybody but yourself. Because if that's all you're striving for, is to do all this work to be approved by people, you're not living in your own light. You're not living through who you are as an individual, as a human being. Because if I put all that energy towards people constantly telling me, well, what he does is great, and, you shouldn't be doing that, basically trying to go into an appeasing of people, then again, you're just moving back into that old paradigm. You have to do in life what you feel you are here to do. And that comes from your passions, that comes from your drive, that comes from your excitement, that comes from your joy. And that's it. So if everything within these thoughts have been negatively aligned, then what you're doing is bringing positive spin, positive reinforcement into those aspects of the negative. And this can be a very, very large tapestry of many different thoughts. There's even thoughts that you hadn't even considered that you even thought, so to speak, that now start to come to the surface. Because now the mind is realizing that you are transforming yourself. The thoughts are now starting to become remedied. They're starting to become transcended because you are forgiving these aspects of thought. And they're now coming back together into the paradigm where new thoughts can come together. Old thoughts become transmuted, and new thoughts that are complementary to my position where I am right now can now be born. And so now the ego can work together in positive alignment with you. It's no longer attempting to fight with you. And the only reason it has fought with you is because you have left behind all these programs unattended. The ego doesn't get what you're doing. What are you doing? Why are you leaving this 9-to-5 job? Why are you, completely violating your own code of conduct with life? Why are you doing that? Why are you not filling me in? What's going on here? That's why the ego gets apprehensive. When you try and go into a new paradigm, you have not done your ego work. You sit down with the ego. You negotiate with the ego. You bring positive reinforcement to these thoughts that you are now attempting to create revalidation for. And doing that positive reinforcement, you're now bringing in new thought structure that represents the complement to where you want to go relating to passion, relating to enjoyment. What we're going to look at more in part 2 is looking into the fundamentals of new reality, about a lot of the abilities that we are capable of, about looking more deeper into ourselves to seeing how fluidic reality is based upon our own intentions and what is existing within the world of our reality that we never even knew existed. Thank you so much for watching part 1. I'm Brad Johnson. I look forward to speaking to you again in part 2. Namaste, and may it be well with you. Goodbye.